Hello class, and welcome to week 12. This is our third week of doing online learning. I hope that everyone is adjusting okay, and I would like to remind you that at any time, please feel free to reach out to me with questions. So this week, the agenda is to move to the final draft of the research project. We're going to talk about how you can move from outline to fully developed paragraphs. Then moving beyond a basic level of development to produce more detailed paragraphs. We're also going to touch on APA Conestoga references again, and then we'll talk about some next steps for our class. So this is what a basic outline could look like. In this case, we've got a topic sentence, living close to work has many advantages. Then we've broken it down into 3 subtopics. The first subtopic is financial benefits. Spend less on gas, spend less on car repairs. The second subtopic is health benefits. People are more likely to walk or cycle to work if they live close. Both walking and cycling are healthier than commuting by car. And then the third subtopic, environmental benefits. Cars cause more pollution than walking/cycling. Concluding sentence, people should look for a job that's close to home. Now, going from that outline to this paragraph could look something like this. Working close to home offers many advantages compared to living far from work. First, it is better financially. A shorter commute will reduce the amount of money a person is likely to spend on gas and on car repairs. Secondly, living close to work is healthier for people. It provides them with more opportunities to walk or ride a bicycle to work, which are both great forms of exercise. Moreover, these forms of transportation are better for the environment than a lengthy car commute. In conclusion, the ideal job is the one that's located close to home because it saves money, contributes to one's health, and is better for the environment. You may have noticed I've highlighted 2 of the sentences. That is just to remind you to always write an introductory sentence and to always add a concluding sentence. And if you notice, in our concluding sentence here, we revisit the main topic and we restate the 3 supporting subtopics. So take a moment and I want you to read the outline on the left and try to find shared elements with the paragraph on the right. What do they have in common? What elements do you see in the left that you see again in the paragraph on the right? So take a couple minutes to just read that, and then we will talk about it again together. Great, now let's look together. So everything in blue is just a reiteration of what is on the left here, okay? So working close to home offers many advantages. You can see that right here in the topic sentence. Then we see better financially. We see reduce, which is another way of saying spend less. We see spend on gas, car repairs, healthier for people, walk or ride a bicycle to work, exercise, better for the environment, and then down here you see close to home. So even if they are not the exact same words as the outline, they are just the same ideas but put into a paragraph. Now let's look at this again and see what new elements we can find in the paragraph on the right. So take a moment, take a look, and see if you can find some new elements that were not in the outline. You can see that highlighted in red are some additional components to the paragraph that were not found in the outline. For example, we say compared to living far from work. We use a transitional word here, first. Then we talk about a shorter commute will reduce the amount of money a person is likely to spend. Then we have another transition word, secondly. We also add provides them with more opportunities. We see a third transition word here, moreover. We say lengthy car commute. And then a final transition word in conclusion, the ideal job. So we've added quite a bit to the outline in order to create full sentences that are easy to read and that make sense. But it's still not a perfect paragraph. We need to add more depth. We need to have some proof of what we're saying. So what is missing from this outline? What could we add to it to make it better? Well, we could add some depth to the financial benefits subtopic. So we say that the financial benefits are spending less on gas and spending less on car repairs. Well, how much does the average commuter spend on gas? We need to answer this question before we can say that you save on money. Next, what are the most common maintenance issues? If we're saying that someone is going to spend less on car repairs, we need to mention how much they are spending and how much they would spend. So here is how it would look if you were to add some depth to your outline. So financial benefits, spend less on gas. If we do a little research, we might find this. CAA estimates $1,700 per year on gas for a compact car being driven 20,000 kilometers. So that's great. That's a solid statistic that someone could add to support the fact that you would spend less on gas. Next, you could say spend less on car repairs and do a little research on that, or you could just draw from your own knowledge. Anyone who has driven a car, has repaired a car, knows that regular maintenance entails things like engine oil, air filter, transmission fluid, and then there are also larger repairs that are needed, right, due to wear and tear, so just using a car over and over, and sometimes collisions. Unfortunately, when you drive a car, you can get into an accident, and that can cost a lot of money. So in this section, this person didn't even need to do actual research. This is just drawing on knowledge they already have. Now let's talk about health benefits. We mentioned here that both walking and cycling are healthier than commuting by car. Well, let's ask ourselves, what are the health benefits of cycling to work instead of driving? So we know that people are more likely to walk or cycle to work if they live close. Both walking and cycling are healthier than commuting by car. Well, what do we know about this? If we do a little research, we find that 52% lower risk of dying from heart disease and 40% lower risk of dying from cancer are results of having a healthier commute to work. Instead of taking a car, if you cycle or walk, this is what will happen. And you notice here that we've put in the in-text citation. That is very important. As you add to your outline, you need to put all your in-text citations. What about environmental benefits? So cars add more pollution than walking or cycling. We know this, but how much pollution do cars actually add? Well, cars cause more pollution than walking or cycling. Alternative forms of transportation create less pollution than traveling by car. And after doing some research, we find that each trip, transit riders produce 65% less GHG emissions than the same trip by car. So that answers that question. So now this is what a more detailed paragraph would look like after we add in the findings from our research. Working close to home offers many advantages compared to living far from work. First, it is better financially. A shorter commute will reduce the amount of money a person is likely to spend on gas, which can cost the average Canadian driver almost $2,000 per year, CAA 2016 car costs. A shorter commute would also help drivers reduce the cost of regular maintenance like oil changes and avoid larger repairs due to wear and tear and collisions. Secondly, living close to work can encourage people to live a healthier lifestyle because it provides them with more opportunities to walk or ride a bicycle to work. According to a recent study, swapping the car for a bike can dramatically reduce a person's chance of dying from major illnesses like heart disease and cancer. Gill and Celis-Morales, 2017, paragraphs 8 to 11. In addition to these personal benefits, people can also help to reduce air pollution when they live close enough to work that they can leave their car behind. Commuting to work by public transit, for example, produces 65% less greenhouse gas emissions than the same trip taken by car. CUTA 2005, page 2. Clearly, moving closer to work is about more than just convenience. Instead, it's a move that could have positive implications for the entire planet, as well as for our bodies and our wallets. So you can see here that everything in blue is additional information that we did not have in the original paragraph. And this really serves to strengthen the paragraph and to really prove the points the author was trying to make. So now let's practice a little bit more with APA at Conestoga. So we're going to use the following screenshots in combination with information already provided in the in-text citation to produce an appropriate reference page entry. So this isn't our learning log, but we will just do it on screen together. You don't need to open your learning log if you don't want to. So first, let's take a look at this CAA website. So we know that it's the CAA website. It says it at the top here, and it also says it in the URL. The title is Driving Costs Calculator. We do not have an author or a date, so our information is a little limited. When you have pages like this, all the information on how to write a reference is in APA at Conestoga. So for this one, our author would actually just be the website name, so CAA, period, open bracket, 2016, close bracket, period, and then in italics would be the title of this page itself, Driving Costs Calculator, period again, then just retrieved November 18, 2018 from, and then you put the URL. So that one's kind of easy, although it doesn't have as much information as we're used to. Now let's talk about this article. Looks like it's an online magazine or newspaper. It is called The Conversation. The title of the article is Cycling to Work. Major new study suggests health benefits are staggering. The date is April 19th, 2017. And on the side here, you can see it has two authors, Jason Gill and Carlos Celis-Morales. So this one's pretty easy. First, we would put the authors' names. So Jill, J, period, and Celis-Morales, C, period. Then we open up our bracket, 2017, April 19th, close the bracket, add a period, then the title, not in italics, just in regular font, Cycling to Work. Major new study suggests health benefits are staggering. And keep in mind, we've used title case capitalization. So connecting words like to and are not necessarily capitalized, but keywords are. Then the title of the newspaper or magazine itself, The Conversation, that has to be in italics. Then we put a period again, retrieved November 18th, 2018 from the URL. And one last one. So the website here is called CUTA, or Canadian Urban Transit Association. So if you follow along here, it's right near the top. The title of this particular article is Public Transit, a Climate Change Solution. It was published December 2005, and there is no specific author. So in that case, the author would be Canadian Urban Transit Association, period, open bracket 2005, period, and then in italics, the title of the paper itself, Public Transit, a Climate Change Solution Issue Paper, period, retrieved November 18, 2018 from the URL. So nice and easy. I hope this helps you become more familiar with referencing, because that's something that I still see a lot of people struggling with. And when you do your reference page, always remember that they have to be in alphabetical order. So now let's talk a little bit more about how to move from an outline to a paragraph. Now that we've assembled the ideas that will form our paragraphs, we can consider the tools needed to connect these parts. A successful academic paragraph moves seamlessly from the topic sentence to the supporting sentences and on to the concluding sentence. To connect ideas logically, writers use transitional words and phrases. Transitional words and phrases are a particular set of words that help the reader to understand what kind of relationship exists between ideas. Is the next sentence continuing the idea that's presented in the previous one? Is it offering contradictory information? Is it introducing a new idea? There are many transitional words and phrases in English. If you follow the link in your own PowerPoint, you can see a list of them grouped into types, and they can be based on the kind of role they play within a paragraph. So transitions like also, moreover, furthermore, additionally, adds or builds on a previous point or example. For example, including in particular, introduces one or more specific examples. So you can introduce an idea and then follow it with a specific example. Similarly, in the same way, and to indicates a similarity between two things or ideas. But, however, on the other hand, changes the focus to a different idea. Sometimes an idea that is opposing the original one, but it's usually a move to a different kind of idea. In fact, indeed, significantly emphasizes the previous or following point. So if you want to place emphasis on the point you just discussed or the point you're about to bring up, use in fact, indeed, or significantly. Nevertheless, still, although, moves past a potentially problematic point. Sometimes when you are writing your paragraphs, you will have to state some information that might be contradictory to your original point, but you can move past it by using nevertheless, still, although. As a result, consequently, therefore, identifies the effect or result of something. Initially, first, second, etc., next, creates an order or sequence of events or ideas. So when you first introduce your first idea, you can say initially or first, and then you say second, third, etc., next. There are many ways to kind of number the sequence of events or ideas. Overall, clearly and altogether, signal the conclusion or resolution of the paragraph. So that's what you would use in your concluding sentences. So let's practice using some transition words or connecting ideas. You can open the file titled Transition Words Lab Activity if you want, but we will be doing it together on screen, and I'll be modifying the activity a little bit. The first question asks us to identify transition words and to explain what kind of transition each word is expressing. And then the second question invites you to add transitions to improve the continuity and clarity of a paragraph. Remember, transitional words and phrases often appear at the beginning of a sentence, but they can also play an important role connecting ideas within a sentence. So it isn't always at the beginning. Sometimes you will have transitions in the middle. There are numerous advantages to owning a hybrid electric vehicle, an HEV. First, HEVs are generally more fuel efficient than even the most fuel efficient gas-powered vehicles. And then we listed our source there. So our first transition word is the word first. Needing less gas provides an obvious financial benefit for drivers, but this feature also has the potential to generate widespread changes. Because they do not require as much gas, HEVs could reduce overall dependency on fossil fuels and potentially help lower prices at the pump. Our next transition word is the word but. Second, HEVs are better for the environment than traditional gas-powered vehicles because they produce fewer greenhouse gas emissions. We've got second right there. For example, the 2017 Toyota Prius is ranked first among conventional vehicles of any class for CO2 emissions. And there we go, for example. Now let's move on to the next page. In addition to fuel efficiency and environmental impact, electric vehicles are winning over car experts because of improved performance and reliability. So in addition is another transitional phrase. In fact, retired race car drivers and automotive journalist Jacques Duval claims that electric cars represent the future of the auto industry. And there we go. In fact is another transition word, or in this case, a phrase. Finally, many drivers simply enjoy the experience of driving a hybrid electric vehicle and can't understand why anyone would be opposed to clean car technology. There we go. We've got another sequential phrase or word there. So finally, they appreciate in particular the calm and quiet when the engine is idle. And you could actually even say that in particular is a transitional phrase. Overall, the low running costs, environmental benefits, and pleasant experience of driving a hybrid electric or electric vehicle make it only a matter of time before this class of vehicles becomes the leader of the automotive market. So we see here that is one of our concluding words that we can use. Oh, and there it is, in particular as well. So, moving on to the next activity, the following paragraph lacks continuity because the author has not used any transitional words or sentences. Read this flawed paragraph and then make it better by filling in the blanks with the transitions presented in the box below. So let's read this together. My efforts to define workaholism and to distinguish workaholics from other hard workers proved difficult. Workaholics do work hard. Not all hard workers are workaholics. Moonlighters may work 16 hours a day to make ends meet. Most of them will stop working when their financial circumstances permit. Accountants seem to work non-stop, but many slow down after the tax deadline. Workaholics always devote more time and thought to their work than their situation demands. In the absence of deadlines to meet, mortgages to pay, promotions to earn, or bosses to please, workaholics work hard. What sets them apart is their attitude toward work, not the number of hours they work. So how can we make this sound better with transitional words and phrases? So here are our options for what we can use to fill in the blanks. So we have, for example, on the other hand, still, to, but, while, ultimately, even, and nevertheless. And keep in mind that there are many ways to use each of these, and we won't be using all of them. And if you think your idea is different than mine, that is okay. Like I said, different words can work in different ways. So my efforts to define workaholism and to distinguish workaholics from other hard workers proved difficult. While workaholics do work hard, not all workers are workaholics. So we see here, while workaholics do work hard, not all hard workers are workaholics. Moonlighters, for example, may work 16 hours a day to make ends meet, but most of them will stop working when their financial circumstances permit. Then we see this repeated again here. Moonlighters, for example, may work 16 hours a day to make ends meet, but most of them will stop working when their financial circumstances permit. Accountants, on the other hand, seem to work non-stop, but many slow down after the tax deadline. You could also use the word too. So accountants too seem to work non-stop, but many slow down after the tax deadline. Workaholics, nevertheless, always devote more time and thought to their work than their situation demands. Even in the absence of deadlines to meet, mortgages to pay, promotions to earn, or bosses to please, workaholics still work hard. Ultimately, what sets them apart is their attitude toward work, not the number of hours they work. So you can see that there are options here, but these are some great transitional words and phrases that will really add clarity and smoothness to your paragraph. It will make it a lot easier to read. So this week's lesson was quite short, but let's discuss what's next on our to-do list. So your research project process reflection is due by April 5th at 11:59 p.m. It is under quizzes in APA Conestoga, and it is available now until the deadline. The final draft of the research project will be due by April 15th by 11:59 p.m., but please watch out for changes to that due date because we are kind of trying to figure things out as we go because our format has changed so much. And then we have our labs activity number 5, which will likely be due by April 18th, but I'll update you once the communications department has made a decision. But please keep in mind that sometime around the middle of April, you will be doing your labs activity number 5 from home. I hope that everyone has submitted their outlines. I will start marking them today and have them up as soon as possible. And once you have my feedback from your outline, you can go on to do the final draft of the research project and your process reflection. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me anytime. Have a great week.